What's life without a little privacy? Every human deserves to have their own comfortable private time. Whether it's to spend with your family or even just to give time to yourself, privacy is definitely a fundamental requirement to all of us. Lucky for us, we're in a time and age where privacy is totally considered one among the significant rights of human beings. Today, most of us are fortunate enough to have our own homes or even have rooms to ourselves to suffice our need for privacy. But what if you were to suddenly be plucked out of your comfortable homes and made to live in the most crowded place on Earth? What would life be like in a place like that? If that's what you're wondering, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Discover X, guys. Today we're going to give you a glimpse of what life is like in the least private places on Earth. Before we start, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more mind-blowing videos. Alright, let's get right into it. Presently, one such crowded place, or you could even say the location with the title Most Crowded Place, is the Dharavi slums in Mumbai, India. Though Mumbai is known to be the wealthiest city in India, with most of the celebrities and billionaires residing there, it is also home to the most populated slum in all of Asia. Yes, at present there is no bigger slum than the Dharavi slums to exist in all of Asia. The slums, with an area of approximately only 2 square kilometers, houses around a whopping 1 million people from Mumbai's inhabitants. If we were to explain this in terms of another place, Montana for instance, the population of the Dharavi slums would be like cramming the entire population of Montana into just 2 blocks of a city. The people of the slum area, having very little or close to zero access to clean water and electricity, are highly prone to diseases. The unclean and uncomfortable conditions that the slum people may seem to have adjusted to still cause health issues because it's just not right for humans to survive there. The entire slum region is surrounded by an outline of garbage and sewage water, through which a lot of germs and dirt reach the poor residents. The people here aren't even sure they'll be able to maintain their survival there, as demolishment of the slums can take place anytime. If that wasn't dreadful enough for you to hear, you'd be shocked to know that this wasn't the most crowded to have existed. Until 1994, the natives of the dreaded Kowloon walled city faced the worst terrors of no privacy. The Kowloon walled city was the most densely packed slum to have ever existed until its demolition. It was home to roughly around 2 million people per square kilometer. Now that's a lot of people for land with an area of just 6.5 acres. To put it in simpler words, the slum was only as big as 4 football grounds put together. The living conditions inside the slum were so concentrated to the extent that you wouldn't even be able to get a glimpse of space without another person in it. It's like cramming approximately 20 individuals into a room equal to your bathroom. Every house as big as that was as concentrated as possible. The buildings were so jammed together that you could literally reach the next apartment by just stretching your limbs out a little. Horrific, right? Over 100 such buildings were jammed together to form one big mass of a city. Even the aerial images of the Kowloon walled city in the world map, it looked like one big concrete clump with no gaps or separations, just one tiny space in the middle where public gatherings and assemblies took place. Education was out of the question for these people. All they wanted to do was hopefully get through the day with their daily requirements. Not even an official government existed to maintain this crowded city. The Hong Kong government feared to interfere with their activities as the place was overcrowded with gamblers and thugs. Not even police dared to tread the city. They feared it would be too dangerous to take a chance. As these people were left uninterred, they took advantage of the whole situation by producing drugs, housing criminals, and doing things of that sort. Opium and heroin were to them what medicines are to us. Drugs were circulated and sold freely, almost as if it was food. The place was filled with violent and sexually abusive people who didn't care about the difference between right or wrong. People did whatever they felt like as there was no one to get in their way. This lack of education and lawlessness that persisted among the people of the slum led to several other issues too. One notable one being the lack of certified doctors and dentists. The outermost level of the slums had minute and congested clinics, where so-called self-taught doctors dealt with patients. The people there never really knew if the one dealing with their medical needs was actually certified enough to do so or not. It was all a risk. Even engineers and architects weren't licensed. Random people who decided to join the construction team would just do so. That would explain the floppy patterns of construction you'd see in the buildings. Apart from the anarchy and illiteracy, another deficient thing was healthy food. With the city being so overcrowded, shortage of nutritious food was a very common thing. You'll be disgusted when you find out that restaurants even served dog meat frequently. Sanitation was also something unknown to the people of the slums. Alleys were filled with piles and piles of trash. People walked with umbrellas over their heads to save themselves from being drenched in sewage water leaked from broken pipes. Sometimes people would even have to shield themselves from garbage being flung to them by other people. Having no place to discard their trash, people would often dump them on rooftops and terraces, just leaving it there to accumulate. All the unlicensed engineering and metal fabrication, which served as a prime source of employment, only added to the city's trash and pollution. One can only imagine the nauseating stench from the slums. Another thing about the alleys is that they were completely filled with darkness. Be it night or day, the buildings were so wedged together it left almost no gaps for sunlight to enter. Hence it developed the name City of Darkness. Most of the time, the natives wouldn't even have to get to the ground floor to travel to another spot in the slums. The flats were so horrifically interconnected, they could just walk from the third floor of a building to the third floor of the next building. To top it all off, as the population skyrocketed, the people started adding more floors to the buildings to house more people. But planes landing towards the airport nearby, which caused immense noise pollution, by the way, also had a chance of crashing into the top of the building, leading to mass destruction and death. Luckily, the people had enough sense to stop constructing anything more than 14 floors. Finally, in 1994, the Hong Kong government gathered up the courage to initiate the demolishment of the hellish slums. It is now replaced by a green park that we see today. What you've heard so far about these slums may have appeared as a description of hell itself. Still, several former slum local residents have a pretty enjoyable opinion of the place, probably because of the difference in their way of life. They see it as a new world, vastly different from the routine lives people like you and me live. One of the milder versions of the most concentrated cities to exist on Earth is the Santa Cruz del Islote Island. No other island has been ever known to be as crowded as this one, thus making it the world's most populated island. The island, only the size of 2 soccer fields, is home to just about 1,200 people. When people like us fight for room and space on a football ground, imagine the plight of 1,200 people trying to survive there. Sounds like a struggle, doesn't it? That's far from reality, though. Despite lawlessness, the natives of the island have a rather peaceful existence. The people go hand in hand with each other, without even requiring police to monitor them. Everyone on the island knows each other and makes it appear like one big family. You may wonder how such a large population ended up on this tiny, isolated piece of land. The answer to that is around 150 years ago, fishermen would take refuge on this island during their fishing routines. Eventually, some of those fishermen started building homes and had families on the island. All the inhabitants of the Santa Cruz del Islote Island are none other than the descendants of those fishermen. The natives of the island are so content with their lifestyle, there's nothing they would take to exchange for it. So that was a little about some of the most populated cities on Earth. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something from it. If you did, make sure you check out our other videos from our channel, which I'm sure you'll enjoy. Before you leave, don't forget to like the video, and if you haven't yet subscribed, hurry and do it right away. Also, make sure you click the tiny bell icon on the side so you never miss out on any of our upcoming videos. Alright then, thanks for watching. Until we meet again, bye-bye.